Okay, truth-telling time. Do you ever find yourself running to the bathroom while working out, or maybe just dribbling a little bit when you cough or sneeze? If so, today's episode is for you. I'm speaking with Kirstyn Campbell, a personal trainer and women's pelvic floor health expert. Stick around. Hey there, I'm Amy Connell. Welcome to Graced Health, the podcast for women who want simple and grace-filled ways to take care of themselves and enjoy a little chocolate in the process. I'm a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach who wants you to know your eating, movement, and body don't have to be perfect. You just need to be able to do what you are called to do. Sometimes we learn we've had it all wrong, or maybe that hasn't happened to you, but that's definitely happened to me. I share this story with our guest today, Kirstyn Campbell, in our first few minutes together, so I won't repeat it here, but let's just say I've never paid much attention to my pelvic floor health, especially after my baby making season was over. After talking with Kirstyn, I realized this is probably an area that needs a little more attention. Kirstyn Campbell is a personal trainer and mom's fitness specialist based in New Zealand. She's a mom of two herself and is driven and passionate to train women safely, repairing and building strong core foundations. One of her specialties is repairing the core, including the pelvic floor, the glutes, upper and lower back. She loves teaching women how to respect and honor what their amazing bodies have been through and what they're capable of doing today, and then also preparing for tomorrow. Half the process is just listening to your body and learning what is good for it. If you've been with me a while, you know I really resonate with this message. I love this quote from her website. Society expects women to have children. Then when we do, our bodies are expected to look and function as though we haven't. How powerful is that? I know you're going to feel as drawn to Kirstyn as I do. She's warm and really just takes away any shame from these uncomfortable topics. Now, just like last week, when I spoke with Jenna Unke about gynecological cancer, this episode does focus on women's health. We still use the correct terminology. So if you aren't at a place where you feel comfortable with other people hearing anatomically correct words, do bookmark this and come back at a better time. I know you were going to want to hear this. Before we get to Kirstyn, I do have a question. Do you ever feel shame because you're not following all of the so-called rules of healthy living? You want to break some of these rules with me? My new free download combats several health rules we've heard, and it gives you a bonus rule to keep. Go grab yours at gracedhealth.com/bad rules altogether. BADRULES. Okay, let's bring Kirstyn on. Kirstyn, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I want to start off this conversation by saying I feel like I have a lot to learn today. So this is a true, I am asking because this is an area that I don't think I have done well in as a trainer, and probably I'm failing as a woman with my health. And that is all focused on kind of that pelvic floor health. I wanted to start off with a story. So I speak to groups, and I was speaking to a women's group, and it was kind of interactive, and I'm like showing them stretches, and I can, doing this and doing that. And we're all kind of up and moving around. And at one point, it was a lot of moms. So some of them had babies in the room, some of them had toddlers, like in a childcare area. And I'm just going on, and I was like, oh, and if you pee during jumping jacks, it's no big deal. We all pee, it's normal, and I just went on. And all of the moms were at all of these different tables, and I can just kind of see a little bit of a chitter chatter, there's. And I said, hey, you guys have a question? And one of the older moms kind of pointed at one of the younger ones. She was like, she's got something to say. And she raised her hand and she said, I hate to say this, but I think she said a physical therapist. I'm not really sure, but she said, that's actually not normal and that's not okay. And you need to get that checked out.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was so grateful that she said that because, quite honestly, peeing during jumping jacks is my normal. And I know it is for a lot of my clients. Most of my clients are in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And when I was introduced to you by Kyle Wood, who was on the show earlier, I was like, oh, this is taking Amy to school. We're gonna we're
Yeah.
gonna bring Kirstyn Campbell on, the New Zealand pelvic floor health guru, and we're going to learn. So I'm really, really glad that you are here. Um, so let's go back just a little bit. And I was wondering if you could share your journey to being, not only a personal trainer, but also as someone who really does specialize in that pelvic floor health.
Yeah. Oh, you're so brave. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing honestly. And first of all, just from what you said, like I don't think anyone should feel any guilt over thinking, that they've said you may do this and it's really common and don't worry about it, because we're not taught it naturally as trainers when we get qualified, and we're like, I have so many older mums with children in their 30s and 40s who have been living with things like this and pain since they gave birth, and they just thought they had to suck it up and get on with it and do the best that they could and maybe use a sanitary pad. And but yeah, the good news is it's not true. And I found this out. I was 2 years into training, being a trainer. I was training clients, and I have always exercised hard. I like to challenge my body and see how much I can physically push myself, which mentally strengthens me as well. And I'd done this 100-day challenge that I saw a professional sportsman do, that I thought, oh yeah, I'll give that a go.
We've all done that, yes.
Yeah. And it was 100 burpees every day for 100 days. And I was really fit and I smashed it out. And a year later, I was like, I'm going to do the same challenge, but I feel like something's not right in my gut, and as in like skeletally, not my colon or anything. And thought I'll do 50 burpees and 50 Toyotas, which is a form of a jump squat, but you go down and use your arms. It makes it's harder on your core. Okay. I got 30 days in, and I just put my daughter down to bed, and she was camping out in her bedroom on the floor, and I said prayers with her, and I lay on my back on the floor, and I just stroked my hand across my tummy. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. It wasn't intentional. And I felt this huge concave down the center of my stomach, and my heart sunk, and I felt it. And there was a separation from top to bottom. And I jumped up and looked on Google, and I found out that there was a such thing called a women's health physiotherapist. And I had what was called a Diastasis recti, and I booked in with her that night straight away. I cried. I was like, this is what I do for a living. What have I done to my body? What have I potentially done to my female clients? So I found out that I'd created the diastasis and weakened my pelvic floor through exercising without using my body properly. So like you just thrash out and you don't think, like you can have really good technique, because I like good technique, but my technique stopped at what I could see structurally and all of that, and it didn't go into what I as a trainer couldn't see, but I wanted to cue, how's your deep core? Have you activated your transverse? How's your pelvic floor feeling when you do that? Like that was just not even in my world. So my injury, God used for amazing good, and like I strongly believe that everything awful that happens to us, God has the ability to use it for good, and that's what he's done. So it was awful, and it was a long recovery. Well, no, it wasn't long. It just sucked. Like I would lean into the mirror in the vanity in our bathroom to tweeze my eyebrows, and I had burning down the center of my stomach, because the linear elbow that connects your six-pack, your transverse there, was so stretched it couldn't cope anymore with any more pressure. The physio actually strapped my stomach together with K-tape for 2 weeks. Without it on, even lying on my back, I felt like it was falling open.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it was quite a dramatic injury that flipped me from being your standard, slightly loopy, energetic, passionate trainer to, oh my gosh, I'm going to specialize and study a whole lot more and research.
Wow. Well, the other things that I'm pulling out of what you just told me is, number one, I mean, I know a lot of my clients do that, or my clients and my community, like we see these challenges and we're like, yeah, let's do that. And there's something so empowering about being able to do whatever a professional athlete does, or an influencer on Instagram or something like that. But we don't always know if that's, number one, right for our body. And number two, they may be having the same issues, but we don't see the after results of that. We just see that one sliver in time. And I think you've really shed light on something important, which is we've got to consider our holistic health and what we're doing. And it's not just about finishing that challenge. I mean, if the challenge is bothering you or hurting you or feeling weird, then it stops being a challenge and starts being something harmful.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a really great lesson to pull out of what you were just talking about right there. Okay, so I want to, let's stay on the topic of the gosh, I can never say it. This is how
Diastasis recti.
And I think in America we say diastasis recti.
Right.
I had a client come to me a couple years ago, and she said, I just found out I have this. And my youngest is like 8 years old. And so I had to really do some research and try and understand. And quite honestly, I don't know that I did a great job of it. But if you have women who have this, talk to me a little bit about what kinds of exercises they should be doing. And just as importantly, what kinds of exercises they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. So if you have one, then you want to learn how to connect with your deep core, which is it lies underneath your six pack and obliques. So your transverse abdominis muscle goes around your torso, and then it connects very closely with your pelvic floor, and they actually co-contract together beautifully. When we breathe and inhale, the pelvic floor gently lowers and the core is more vulnerable, it expands a bit. And then when we inhale, the pelvic floor naturally lifts a little bit and our core comes in more. So going with that breath is when you lift your pelvic floor and draw your transverse in. So if you have one, then I would recommend that you find out how to work those and use them together. I have intentionally, I got so, you see a problem and it frustrates you and you're like, okay, I need to do something about it. So I got frustrated with seeing mums being targeted for really big gimmicky things that I knew purely because of my injury that were not going to be helpful for them. Yeah. So I was like, stop complaining about it to yourself and do something about it. And I created an online core program to help with that. So there is no one stop or let's just do this and that'll help everybody, because we're all different. But we do need to stop and learn how to use our core. And there's exercises that can help to either narrow your diastasis, ideally make it shallower. So you're looking at the length, the width, and the depth. And the depth is actually the most important thing, because the deeper it goes, the more your linear elbow has stretched. And closing your diastasis isn't even always the big aim, but it's being able to function with it without doming, which is where they peak. Because that's your internal organs pushing up into your linear elbow.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if you can function and you can do, like, these great clips showing, say, a mum just in a sports bra or a woman doing a chin up, and it shows how much your core is used in a chin up and her doming hugely. And then she is cued to use her transverse and she does the chin up, no doming. So the only difference is she's using her core the way that it needs to be. She hasn't closed anything or changed, like it's all done on the same day, straight after each other. So my advice is big, girthy things like burpees and stuff, where they're plyometric, you're jumping. It's really hard to control that muscle until you've got really good foundational strength. So yeah, I would say burping. Planking's actually really hard on your core. And our transverse muscle only holds for 10 seconds, up to 10 seconds before we need to reconnect it. And it's very common to go, all right, let's do a 2-minute plank, or let's plank until failure. And you're actually, the plank uses more muscle groups in your body than your core, and in your core fatigues a lot sooner. And doming is just, So anything that causes intra-abdominal pressure, the double leg throws, sit-ups, holding your breath in anything, so really deep weighted squats, or there is a lot. And it's not that you have to stop forever. It is that let's just pull back for now, learn how to use your core and heal it and get it stronger. And then endurance is a big thing. So full press-ups, which is harder on your core than a plank. And then you can go back to doing those things once you're ready and you're strong enough. So mountain climbers. So you think anything in the prone position, and then anything standing or on your back that pushes down on your core.
Okay, so prone, just so everybody knows, is face down, like on your belly.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember what question I had regarding that, and I'm sorry, it totally.
That's okay.
We'll just keep going. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about a weak pelvic floor and signs to look for that beyond peeing when you do jumping jacks.
So there's several things that can cause the incontinence, and some people leak wheeze, and some people leak poos, and some leak both. Okay. You can have
wheeze. So this is not a term I've ever heard before.
Wheeze.
Wheeze. Like pee, right?
You pee your pants.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just say wheeze and poos.
No, it's all good. I just want to make sure we're all speaking the same language.
Yeah, it's urine. You urinate in your knickers. So you can have a weak pelvic floor and leak, and then you can have too tight pelvic floor. So you can be hypertonic and you can leak. So it's so confusing. So if somebody is
going, well, how do I know? Like what?
Yeah. So it has been so common to say, oh, you're leaking, then start doing Kegels, start doing pelvic floor exercises. But if you're already hypertonic and you're already too tight, and you just start doing more strengthening exercises, then hypertonic pelvic floor are painful. So the way you know, sorry.
I'm just wondering. So how do you know the difference?
Yeah. So you see a women's health physiotherapist. They are amazing. They do an internal, and our pelvic floor are so detailed. We can be hypertonic on one side and weak on the other side. When they check, they're checking the strength of your front, back, left, and right. They're checking how strong you grip, and how high you lift up, how long you lift for, and then if you fully release. Hypertonic people have a lot of trouble to release, so they're already up here.
Okay.
And they have to breathe more to let it loosen and come down. Just like a muscle that has a knot, and a physio might get in there and loosen the knot, the same will happen for your pelvic floor muscle. Putting pressure on it releases it, and it feels amazing afterwards. So the things that you might feel, because there's also a term called a prolapse, which is where your pelvic floor drop lower than they ideally are sitting. And for that, you might feel a heaviness or dragging feeling between your legs. It can feel like you're falling out.
Okay.
I've even had a term. Someone was doing a strength exercise, and they felt and heard a pop down there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you can do leaking, you can do urgency, so you can be doing jumping jacks and all of a sudden go, oh my gosh, I've got to go toilet, and that is a form of an incontinence. It's an urgency incontinence, and the stress incontinence is the jumping, coughing, laughing, sneezing, and that all of a sudden that intra-abdominal pressure pushes down and your pelvic floor couldn't hold anymore. So there can be a lot of signs. You can have not be able to hold a moon cup up inside or a tampon. They might fall out. It might be too painful. Having painful sex is one of the, or uncomfortable sex is one of the symptoms. Pretty much, if anything doesn't feel right down there, you get it checked. Because can be scar tissue from having stitches or grazing from childbirth. And like I said earlier, I had one beautiful lady who came to see me, and she had painful sex since her first child and leaking. She didn't do plyometric stuff anymore. She wasn't jumping anymore because she's in her 60s and it wasn't like what she enjoyed. But she would leak walking. So if she walked for a certain length of time, like past what her pelvic floor was strong enough for, she needed to go to the toilet and it would just come. And so that limits your lifestyle, right? Like,
You do what you love to do.
yeah. And I found out she'd lived like that for 33 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the really good news is while in New Zealand, 1 in 3 women leak, mums. And then as we get older, that percentage goes up. So, and it goes to 80% of all women will leak in their life. That is what our statistic is at the moment. 1 in 10 men leak, and when they get to elderly, it is the same between men and women, losing control. And the great news is the natural things to be done to help. And the prolapse I mentioned, 50% of women prolapse to some degree. And of those 50%, only 20% need surgery. Okay. 80% improve their prolapse and don't need surgery by doing natural exercises, like being educated and understanding. Like say if we just say jumping jacks or skipping, which is something, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
If you really love yeah. If you really love something and you really want to go back and do it, then you get help, you do your exercises, you learn how to breathe and contract and use your pelvic floor really well, and you get tip-top shape, and then you get back and you're like, okay, I found out I can skip for 1 minute and my pelvic floor are happy. Because if you think of like your pelvic floor sit up like a perky banana, and every time you jump, your banana flops down and comes up and flops down and comes up. And so it has an endurance where there's only so much it can hold, and we're all different. The more children we've had and our age, so perimenopause and menopause, unfortunately, is not kind to us down there. So you might go, okay, I can do skipping for 1 minute, but I can no longer skip for 5 minutes or whatever. So you just live within your personal means. And then around our cycle, or in perimenopause and menopause, when your estrogen levels change, you also have to adapt because an elasticity is there, the integrity is not as strong, and so you just have to go, well, this is how it is for now, and then it's going to get better.
Okay, so let's stay there for a minute, because a lot of my community, as well as me, I, whatever the right pronoun is, we're there, like we're that perimenopause, menopause age. For people who have always done something and they love doing it, and all of a sudden they are starting to have, the little dribbles, or they can't do the, the skipping or the running or whatever it is that they love to do for longer than a period of time that they'd want to do it. what, so I guess talk to me a little bit about the biomechanics of what's happening.
Yeah.
You mentioned the estrogen, and then what can they do? What are some things that they can do to help overcome that and to get back
Yeah.
to where they can be?
Yeah. So always say women's health physio. Like I really believe in us staying within our scope of practice, and getting a really good, strong relationship with our allied health professionals. So you as a woman.
And is that a physiotherapist would you equate that to, because I know you said you spent 6 months in America, would you equate that to like a physical therapist, a women's health physical therapist, or more like a medical obstetrician gynecologist? Just to clarify.
Yeah. So it'll be the physical therapist. It'll be they'll either be called a women's health physical therapist or a pelvic floor physical therapist.
Okay.
A sports one or musculoskeletal one, they don't do lady bits or man bits there. They like it is a specialized field. The obstetricians and the gynecologists are where the patients get sent to if the natural physical therapy isn't working or isn't enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure again that
Yeah.
I was
Um,
understanding the terminology.
well,
So
when I
clarity,
was in, that's
going
okay.
back to the perimenopause and menopause area.
Yeah. When I was living in America, though, I was in my early 20s, so that was beforehand. So I hadn't sought that help
Yeah.
yet. I was still invincible.
Yeah, it was not on your radar when you're in your early 20s.
No.
You were great when you're in your early 20s.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So I'm 40 now, and my hormone levels are changing as well, and it's just so common and it's very natural. So what we need to do as this happens is see that
Mhm.
therapist who is specialised, and make sure that they are specialised in pelvic floor health. And so the things that irritate your bladder that you can help straight away before you get an appointment, because sometimes there's wait lists and stuff, is there are things that aggravate your bladder, like caffeine, alcohol, fake sugar, sometimes acidic food, being dehydrated. So if your bladder has a higher less water in it. You know, when you wake up and you do like a dark wee and you're like, whoa, I need more water. It should be closer to clear.
Yeah.
So, because people can have a fear if they're leaking or have urgency incontinence that I'll drink less and it'll make it better. But that's the opposite. So,
Well, that's really interesting because I know too, people are like, oh, I don't drink anything before I work out because I'm afraid. So
yeah,
what I would say is that actually may be contributing to the problem.
yes. And on the flip side, you could just ask them to go toilet. So if you go to the toilet before you work out, and then you're theoretically exercising on an empty bladder, then if anything you're doing causes you to need to go toilet or leak or have any of that stuff, then it means what you're doing is too hard on your pelvic floor, and you just need to stop and pull back. So yeah, I've got loads of alternatives so that because I talk about wees and poos and vaginas all the time in my class, and we laugh about it, and I talk about the girls, so it's all really normal. Just like we have a shoulder injury and we give adaptions for a shoulder injury, I have, I give adaptions all the time if your pelvic floor isn't coping, or if you want to progress or regress in any area, it's all the same for us. And so see a physio, pull back on the things that irritate your bladder, and you can Google what things irritate my bladder. Go to the toilet before you exercise. And it makes it easier. But you should be drinking and sipping water while you're exercising. You need to hydrate. And what I would definitely suggest is, just like any other muscle, like if someone, we need a strong core and strong glutes, and we want strong posture. So just like we would improve the muscles, groups that need to be targeted, I would definitely get the girls into exercising their pelvic floor. So just like any muscle we stop using, it gets weak.
Okay.
It is to learn how to use your pelvic floor muscles and get them in good shape. So I do avoid, I try to avoid, say, get them really strong because of the hypertonic, but we do want them strong. We also want them to be able to release. So if a woman is pregnant and her pelvic floor are hypertonic, that actually makes the birth longer. Because they can't release to allow the baby, because in pushing your pelvic floor go down, and they can tear and damage themselves more. So we want our pelvic floor to be able to flow down and come up. Like if you're sitting now and you just kind of spread your cheeks a bit and you take a breath in and then release out. So on your exhale is when your pelvic floor naturally lifts a little bit. So on your exhale, I just have cues, they're a little bit quirky, but if you grip on a straw and then with your vagina and suck up a smoothie, like a blueberry smoothie.
Okay.
And then you release that back down as you inhale again. To show you what
is to do to strengthen is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And to show you what you don't want to feel is if you, while you're sitting, kind of bear down and push down like you're pushing out a poop. And you might feel something push on your knickers, or it might push on the chair. That's what you don't want to feel, because pelvic floor exercises can be done wrong very easily. And one of the ways is that people push out when they think they're lifting up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of what when I was on my first pregnancy, I thought that that's what that meant. And I don't remember how I learned. And I was like, oh, I've been doing this wrong the whole time.
Yeah. And then you've been like doing so well by doing your pelvic floor exercises, and then you find out that you haven't been doing them right and you get a bit discouraged. So it is worth seeing a specialist, because I never go in. I tell my girls, I don't put the glove on, I don't go in, I'm just all external. But yeah, it is good to check if you're doing it right to keep improving and not make anything worse.
Yeah. Why do you think there is such a hesitation to go get help for this? I mean, like you said, you go I just went to a physical therapist for my shoulder injury, and there's no shame in that. And in fact, he was just saying, I just had him on, and he was like, it's not a walk of shame, it's a path to progress. But that's, I don't know why it feels different. And I know it shouldn't. Like, I'm not saying this is how people do, but I don't think I'm alone. Like, gosh, is it really worth it? Do I really want to go? I mean, is it going to be weird?
Yeah. Do you have something called a smear test in America?
A pap smear, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So we don't look forward to that. You're
sure.
like, oh, I'm up for it again. Like, we don't look forward to laying on a bed and having something cold, and you feel vulnerable, and people can think, why would you be a gynecologist when that's what you spend, where you spend your time? But yeah, I think it is, you feel vulnerable. It's a private place. And that is for you as a, privately going to see. You can put it off because you can have fear of what you could be told. You can have fear of, I'm going to find out that I'm injured, because it's very hidden. No one knows if you leak unless they can see it and you had more than your pad could hold. No one knows that you have a heaviness or dragging feeling. No one knows what you're feeling when you're jumping or when you're lifting heavy. Only you know that. So you've hidden it and often kept it secret, unless you've laughed about it. And then people laugh it off like it's okay, and it's a rite of passage or something.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's normal.
Yeah.
Guilty.
And so many people like, and it's almost, let's talk about the white elephant before someone notices, I weed. So if you see it, it's okay. The stigma is really strong. I think the stigma can feel like it's a private weakness when it's such a lie. Like I said, I do equate it to like your shoulder injury or rolling an ankle. And I think until we normalize it more, until we have amazing people like you openly talking about it, and more people hearing about it and normalizing this body part, I think that will keep being the same. Something that I'll do for clients who are, I don't think scared's the right word, but tentative, is I'll go with them to their appointment and I'll sit there with them as a support person. And then when the internal happens, which you're not forced to have an internal, it's an option and you're invited to, and it is the best option that you can have, and it's nothing like a pap smear. So there is not a cold plastic thing going in and being cranked open and then scraped. Like, it's, if you can go through that every couple of years, then you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, like if I can, I have a close physiotherapist who comes and talks with on my platform a lot, and a common question is, what can you expect when you go and see her?
Yeah.
And there is a long conversation to start with. She wants to know a very detailed health history for you, because a lot of things come in and add to it. She'll be building a picture from your discussion with her before she even checks you, which is really just going, yeah, that's what I thought would happen. There are women who have had, unfortunately, many who have had sexual trauma down there and been violated, and they're not comfortable with anyone going there, and that's why you won't ever be forced. It's a conversation you can be taught and trained without anyone going in. So if there is a fear that, and if you hear the idea of having an internal and you grip your legs together straight away and it brings awfulness inside, I want to comfort you to say that no one will be forcing you to do that. You'll have a consultation, and especially with COVID and the limitations, you can have it. You don't even have to go there. You can do it through a screen and feel safer. You can take a support person with you and have someone there with you who you feel comfortable to hear things about, triggers. And if you want, constipation is actually can cause a prolapse. If you have, just like giving birth, I got off track because that's a question you will be asked about constipation.
I'm letting you roll because I feel like you're giving us great information. So keep going. You've got the floor.
Yeah. So if you strain to push out a poo and you do that regularly, you're straining on your pelvic floor muscles. So the function of the pelvic floor muscle is to decide when you do a poo, when you do wheeze, and when you don't. So your body tells you your bladder is full, or you hear water rushing, or you feel cold and you're like, I need a wee now. And so that's what your body tells you. And then your pelvic floor, their job is to hold that until you tell them it's now okay to release. Mm-hmm. And your pelvic floor will also play a part in sexual pleasure, which is why they can also have pain, unfortunately, and discomfort. They also hold up all the weight in your torso. So that is why when we're pregnant, or larger women can have weaker pelvic floor, not just because of the hormones of the pregnant woman, but the pelvic floor muscles are under more load. So they need to be stronger. The older we get, the more babies we have, the stronger we need to get our pelvic floor with that full function happening. But we need it. We need to work the girls.
Yes. Okay, so let's go back to, because I think we got a little off track, which is totally fine. But back to what to expect when we are in that perimenopause, menopausal state, and things that we can do maybe preventatively, or signs that we need to be aware of, that we need to go call someone and get a consultation.
Yeah. So do exercises, learn how to do them really well. I'm not a fan of all the gimmicky things. You see toys and stuff. Yeah, I'm old school. I just like to go with your breath and practice doing them laying down, sitting down, standing. If you can't lift your pelvic floor standing, you shouldn't be exercising on your feet, but you can exercise sitting on a Swiss ball or a chair or a bench. If you are leaking, if you have symptoms and it's happening, the things that I mentioned before, just try pulling them out and see if that makes a difference. Not everybody's pelvic floor is aggravated by coffee. I know a lot of people are going, I don't want to give up coffee. And there are people who know that caffeine, they'll have a coffee and then they'll know, oh, I need to poo, and it actually helps their body go. And usually if that happens, then it does aggravate your pelvic floor as well. And because I love to live life and I don't like living life with restriction, if alcohol impacts your pelvic floor or coffee does, and you'd like to go out to dinner with a friend and have a glass of wine, I don't say don't do it. Just know where the loo is. Or don't do that and then go exercise or go jump on a trampoline or something. So if you are entering a time where you feel that your pelvic floor are not feeling the same that they used to, then exercise. So I have an online Sneeze Without Wheeze program, which I developed and have fully had checked by a women's health physiotherapist to know that it's legit. Because I am a trainer. I'm not a physio, but I see a big gap between our job as trainers and getting to that physiotherapist who honestly, do you do all the exercises for your shoulder that your physio gave you to do?
Well, I am right now because I'm like, it's this or surgery. And I really,
wow. Yeah.
So I'm trying really hard, but yeah, I mean, but to your point, we don't do everything correctly. I mean,
Yeah.
or I can speak for you, but I don't do everything.
So that's like, it's very simple. If you're feeling there's an issue, when there's the issue, pull back just for now. So I like to say another fear of women can have of going to get checked out and finding out they have a problem is that they have to stop doing the things they love. So I just want to banish that as well. It is just pull back, get the girls stronger, get them going well, figure out what is aggravating your pelvic floor. It could be that because when we wake up in the morning, our pelvic floor are most rested because we've been sleeping all night. So maybe you need to exercise in the morning because they get more and more tired the longer the day goes on. If we're standing, they're working, unless you're wetting yourself. They're not working very much. But so you might just need to make adjustments like that. You may not be able to exercise every day. If you were, you may need to have a rest day. If you freak out and you feel a huge heaviness and like you're literally falling out, then lay on your back, put your feet under your knees and breathe. And it will be okay. Just know it'll be okay. That's the best resting position for your pelvic floor. Okay. They will not completely fall out into your knickers and come out. Like the fear is a huge thing around this, but if that happens because there's a lot of heavy carrying and constantly carrying, all of that, like I said before, the weight of our torso is on our pelvic floor. That includes picking up a child or carrying heavy washing or carrying lots of shopping bags because you only want to do one trip from your car back to the house. Like all of that stuff is pressure on your pelvic floor. And if you can hold them and then lift the girls and then release them down, you're good to go. But if you can't.
When you say the girls, you mean like your female parts, not because in my world or my language, the girls are the boobs. So you're not saying.
Oh, yeah, you're not lifting your boobs. No, sorry. I'm saying the pelvic floor muscles. Yeah.
I figured probably everyone else has figured that out, but just to.
That is awesome.
Okay, so one of the things that brought us together was Kyle Wood suggested I get to know you because he said, I think she's got some great information for your community. And I know that she's a really strong person of faith too. So I'm wondering how your faith intertwines with your clients and your conversations with them.
Yeah, awesome. God is amazing. And I guess because when we get injured, we have empathy. Naturally, people have empathy, so that's not a faith thing at all. But He's given me such a heart to empower and to give back strength to people who feel weak. And the weakness is not just physical, and it's actually more so. It's emotionally and mentally. And having motherhood and life, I feel as us females, as we go on is not easy. We carry so much on our shoulders. We carry the emotional integrity of our family. We're often working as well. We're usually trying to support our friends as well as family and children, and hold the house together and make it look like it's all going well. And we are often left empty and forgotten about. I find in my experience that we don't always do the best at putting ourselves first, putting on that oxygen mask to then save the world. Or serve our community the way that we want to. So I have such a massive heart that I feel God's given me to speak truth and to, you know how, like, I'm looking at you, people can't see you, but you're beautiful. Like, you just have such this glowing beauty. And one of the things I like to do is not just think that, but to say it. Because I find like females are often unintentionally, I think, raised where if someone else is beautiful, they feel like they're not. And if someone else is achieving something, then they're taking it away from you, or you're not achieving it, which I think is a lie. And so if I think that kind of thing, I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to lift you up. And like, I love your accent. It's like I love listening to you talk. I can see why you successfully have this podcast. I can sit here and go, oh, listening to you talk. So that's what I like to pull out of people, and I feel like God's given me that. So any area. If I see a mum struggling through a workout with a child who won't let them go, and I just see her fighting for herself and fighting for this time, I'm going to tell her, well done, you rocked it. Because we're our biggest judges as well. And if you're that mum struggling with this child, you think, I'm being annoying to everyone else can hear my child. But what I see is this persistent, strong mum who's not giving up, and she's not getting 100% of an exercise class that other people might be getting, but she's getting enough to fill her bucket, and I'm so proud she didn't give up. And even if she did give up, I'm proud she turned up and that she tried. So I think that's what God's given me, and I do in and out, and I weave through all of my life, which flows into my face-to-face business and the online clients. Like, I feel I've been given a gift of seeing a bit further and a bit deeper, and then just pulling that out into saying little nuggets that
I love
that lift you up.
You know, and I love too that you recognize that that's a gift that God has given you, because not everybody has that. And I don't know why, but sometimes it's really hard to give that encouragement or to say that nice thing. I mean, like, I'm just telling you, you like made my week by saying those nice things about me.
Aww.
So those are really, I mean, we don't hear that enough. You know, the verse that comes to mind is, I'm pulling it up real quick. I'm terrible about remembering Bible verses.
So am I.
Right?
But they work in your heart, right?
Yes, they do. They do. Like, I can normally, like, I get the gist of it, but the love, joy, patience, self-control, like, to me, I feel like those are the things that God's giving you. That's your fruit, where you are making an impact to your clients, and whether or not they're face to face or to people who who you may be working with through an online program. Because I'm sitting here thinking the sneeze without wheeze, that is probably an investment that Amy Connell needs to make. I had to laugh when I saw that, because I'm the one who's walking along, and if I sneeze, I'm stopping, I'm crossing my legs, and I sneeze.
Yeah.
This is probably way too much information, but really only women listen to this anyway. So
they're all going, hoo-ha, me too.
I know, I'm like, probably there's other people who can relate to this. So I do think this is such a great topic for you to help normalize and to help empower people to feel comfortable talking about it. Because like I said, I have a lot to learn. I mean, I learned a lot today, and I can't wait to get this out to the listeners. So while we're on the topic of Bible verses, I was wondering if you have a meaningful verse that you would like to share.
So one that really pulled out it's just a little bit. So this is Isaiah, and you'll know it. You'll go, oh, as soon as I start reading, you'll just go, yep. So I'm reading this. I do not know this off by heart. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is an everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. And this is the key. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings of eagles, and like eagles, sorry. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And I chose this because we can feel so tired, and we can feel like the world is weighing us down. And I've got this tattoo that says, he will accomplish this, which is the zeal of the Lord will accomplish this, because I try to do everything. And I'm a strong person, so it's a weakness for me as well. And the scripture is going, well, actually, God is the one who doesn't get tired, and he can energize us, and he can help us to, I just love that image of soaring on wings like eagles and being able to do what he's called us to do in our life. And I believe for me, he allowed me to get injured so that I could be here with you today and give confidence to women. And you can be so downcast and so gutted when you find out that your female body is not as confident or strong as you would like it to be, and that you may have to do pelvic floor exercises for the rest of your life to keep your knickers dry, and you can have woe is me, and it's so hard to be like this. But God gives us our strength, and God gives us everything that we need to get through what we're facing. And a sanitary pad is not the answer. He has given you hearing this today so that you can go, I can strengthen those muscles. I can understand how to use them. I can't squat that deep anymore, but I can squat this deep. I can't lift this weight anymore, but I can lift this weight. And you can keep doing the things that you want to do. It's just figuring out how to adjust it and make it work for you. And nothing is lesser than, it's just different.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love that. Just bring it and preach it. And I don't know if you know this or not, but one question I have started asking my guests is, do you have a tattoo? And if so, would you like to, what's the meaning behind it?
Ah, no way. Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by them. I think that I've had some great conversations with people when I just say, I love your tattoo. Does it have any meaning? And oftentimes I land myself in some really fantastic conversations. So you beat me to the punch. Oh gosh, I love that. He will accomplish this. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
And like you asked, I get great conversations from people asking me, and they're not faithful people, and I get to say, oh, that he is God, because they're like, who? Is it the universe? No. That is God will accomplish this, not me.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great way to share your faith and to share your testimony too. I love this. Hey, Kirstyn, first of all, I cannot thank you for your time. Like I said, I have learned so much. I know my listeners will too. I think this is a needed topic. And so thank you for having the courage to talk about it and kind of like to create this platform about an area that women don't really want to talk about very much. And that takes a lot of that takes courage. And I know for you now, it's just not even a big deal to talk about it, but for a lot of people, it is. It's hard. It's hard to take that step. So thank you.
And it was for me as well. To be honest, when I injured my tummy, I was like, oh, cool. I'll just talk about core. Everyone wants a flat tummy. Everyone wants their tummy fixed. A diastasis causes a mummy pooch. I'll just market it like a mummy pooch. But it was God who gave me the courage, and he took away the shame, because I was there too. I was like, whoa, I don't want to talk about vaginas and leaking. Like, I was there. And so, it was, thankfully didn't take too long. The more I delved into it, the more I saw the problem wasn't so much the tummy, but the deeper, more impacting, life-changing problem was pelvic floor. So I didn't get there straight away. You can blow me down if you thought I did.
But just like what you said, right? Like it's the next right step. It's the progress. It's the, where you were right there. And then you were able to talk about it a little bit more, not unlike if we're lifting weights and then we're able to lift a certain amount and then we can go up a little bit more, once our body is used to that. So I think that there's definitely some fitness analogies with that. Kirstyn, I know I want to give you a chance to talk about your online programs. We touched on them a little bit. Everything that you say, I'll put in the show notes. But can you tell everybody a little bit about the Sneeze Without Wheeze program? And I'm so sorry, the other one has slipped my mind, but I know you know what.
KC Fit Core Restore, yeah.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about those.
So I created Sneeze Without Wheeze. I actually think there's about 26 short videos in there, and there is so much to know about pelvic floor and how to live with them really well. Like I feel like I've barely touched on it with you today. So because it can get like wowzers, the way I've designed Sneeze Without Wheeze is it's an online video-based program where you say, this is my issue, and that's the video. And then you go, I'm living with that issue, and there's a video for that. So it works for you. You have access to it forever because your body changes and different things crop up. So you need to have different support around that. So I teach
like moderately customized. Then
yes,
is what you're saying.
It is, and there's a video where I'm talking you through how to do your pelvic floor exercises. I have a little pocket pal, I've called it, where because I know I mentioned earlier how people don't really do exercises physios give them. So I have a pocket pal created because I'm a list ticker. I don't know if you're a list ticker, Amy. Like I feel so good ticking off. So that's what the pocket pal is. You've got Monday, you should do your exercises 3 times a day. You can tick. So I've got this little thing to cover you for 8 weeks. So that is that. It's very comprehensive. It is very unique, and that's accessed through my website. And then there's KC Fit Core Restore, and like I mentioned earlier, that is about reconnecting with your deep core. A lot of women find that their pelvic floor improves with the Core Restore as well because they co-contract together. Core Restore is pelvic floor is the Sneeze Without Wheeze is really that amazing depth and understanding in that for pelvic floor. And Core Restore is 6 20-minute workout videos for your core that progress from very foundational. And once you've nailed that, then you move on. So again, you work at it in your own pace. You can swap and change between them once you've done all of them. And I don't like skipping ahead or being impatient and moving too fast. It's the same with your pelvic floor. If you try to lift it and hold it for longer than you can, your pelvic floor are going to drop anyway, and you're not doing it right. So be patient, take your time. There is no rush. You're not going to get like an A if you get through it really fast. And you have ongoing access to me. So if you've got it and you've got any problem, like you said earlier, you were sharing and you said it might be too much information. For me, there is not too much information. I must have heard it all almost. And everything is confidential and private. So if you've got a specific or embarrassing or, sensitive thing that you don't want to ask in a Facebook group publicly, then reach out to me and I'm here to help.
Awesome. And I love that you tell us not to rush through because I would be the one who'd be like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and skip the module 3. Like, I would totally be that one. Get a little bit of the hubris going on. And then the Core Restore, is that more for women who experience the diastasis?
Tongue separation,
Okay, that sounds good. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. We will make sure we put all of this stuff in the show notes. Are you on Instagram and the socials and all of that?
Yeah, Kirstyn. I'm KC Fit NZ.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. We will link to all of that. So thank you so much for your time. I learned so much. I really appreciate you.
You are welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
That was such good information. You guys, I love podcasting. I mean, seriously, when else would I have a chance to speak with someone literally halfway around the world about peeing, or as she says, wheezing during jumping jacks? I love this. I love this. Hey, if you are interested in the Sneeze Without Wheeze program, first, you have to get in line behind me. Then go to the show notes. The link is there. You can go get it. All of Kirstyn's contact information is there as well. Don't forget to get your free download, How to Enjoy Shame-Free Health by Breaking 8 Health Rules, at gracedhealth.com/bad rules. Also, is there someone you know whom today's conversation might serve? If so, I would love it if you would just share this with them or on social media. If you haven't subscribed to the show, I invite you to click that button so you can find your own Graced Health each week. All of these things really do help the show, and I always appreciate it. What's the one simple thing? You know, I like to do this in every episode. What's the one simple thing I want you to remember? There's no shame in taking steps to get your body back, to give you control and confidence, even if it's been more than a few years since you've had kids. Okay, that is all for today. Go out there and have a graced day.